Hi, and welcome to Punk with Toys. My name is Lawrence. Today we're going to take a look at some more weapons from Arsenal of Pew Pews. I got 4 new weapons in. We're going to take a look at them. I already did one review on them, but these are different weapons, some newer weapons that are out, and I think they're one that might not even be out just yet. There is a version of it, but I'm not sure if this color is out yet. Maybe it's an old one that's been retired. I'm not exactly sure, but basically I want to show you how their weapons look, how they look with some of the figures. So quickly, they just come in a regular box like this. Nothing too fancy. Bubble wrap inside of them and bagged so they don't get completely messed up. And some of them are painted, some of them are just a regular resin. But either way, they look really nice. Again, we're always looking for possibly better looking, more realistic weapons for Classified, Valiverse, or Marvel Legends, whatever it is that you collect. So anyway, let's just get into it. But before we do, if you like this kind of content, if you want to see me do more reviews on some of these smaller companies that are putting out really good products to add it to our G.I. Joe collection or other military lines, take a second and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that bell notification so you're notified when I drop this stuff. And it tells me and YouTube and the algorithm that, hey, you know what? People like seeing this stuff. Now let's go look at these. All right, so here are the 4 weapons that I got. And again, small sample size, but I will be going along and just kind of reviewing some of them. So anyway, here is this Custom 45. You see the magazine is black. I believe this would be the paint job, so it's probably black resin. But the detail on it looks really nice. It's got a hole, the port for blast effects. But it is a nice, different look for a weapon. Now, the biggest issue that I had with the other weapons, and it's not that big of a deal, is whether or not these ports actually fit. And I really didn't have good luck with it last time. So, as you can see, these kind of fit a little bit better now. They're a little loose. These are Valiverse blast effects, which I think are probably some of the best that are on the market. Really cheap. And they all come with all their weapons packs. Unfortunately, I've kind of backed off from buying a lot of their weapons as I get more into these 3D printed ones and the Joe ones get better. I see more and more issues that I just don't really care for those weapons. But their blast effects are really nice. Obviously, a little don't really fit. Now here's a Classified Hasbro here, which it fits actually pretty good. Unfortunately, I'm not a big fan of Classified. This one actually isn't all that bad. I'm just not a fan of the Classified. They have their issues. The smoke effects, though, pop the smoke effects. So this, at least for this weapon, fits a little bit better. I don't think I could fit any of them in the other ones, right? So, but here's one pistol that we're looking at. Again, I think this looks really nice. We're going to see how it looks on our good old Duke here. So you got to pry his hand open. And so that trigger fits good. No bend or breakage here. Unfortunately, you really can't cross our hands over. Butterfly grips don't really work all that well with the Classified. But you can kind of pose them here, and then we can just kind of get a good look at this guy. And so I think the weapon looks pretty nice there. All right, so that's one weapon. The next one that we're going to take a look at is the UMP, which is this one here. Now, they hit me up and they said they want to send me these because they saw that when I did the review on this one, it is from an old batch. It's an older style of it. And I will post a link at the end to that review. But if you look at them, you can definitely see the difference in it. You see the difference in how they're printing. It's pretty much the same weapon, but here it's completely solid, where on this one you can see through it perfectly fine, and it's actually ready to peg off that Viper right there. So the weapon is pretty much the same, but it's just detailed a little bit better. So this is the original. Again, you can tell that this was early on, and this is what they're making them look like now. Again, I think this looks really nice. Really happy with it. I love having this down here. It just makes it easier, and you can see how I had Torpedo holding it. Now, the blast effects actually seem to fit better in this one. Maybe because it's a larger weapon. The port was drilled down further, so that's the Valivers. Again, Valivers kind of can be loose at times. That stayed in pretty well. And then if we take a classified one, now they're more rubbery. They have more give, so that's the smoke effect. Looks really nice. And we'll kind of throw this on my Torpedo, since he's already posed the way that I wanted him, at least for the time being. And you can see I like this now because now I can actually pose it to make it look like he's peering through it. So, nice look. I really like this. Now, there's no paint on this one. As you can see, it just looks really nice. But the black it's sharp. It's not that glossy look, which I'm not a big fan of the glossy, I'd be lying. All right. Then we have the AK Bullpup. AK Bullpup. You know, sometimes you have to read stuff and not try and pronounce it the way you're seeing it. So, this one I think is sharp. You can see what I've kind of brought up here. And I believe these were meant specifically to go with one of these two figures, or this team of figures. So, now, I like this because it's a very weathered look. So the red on this is very weathered. You can see where he left the black on there. I mean, this looks like it has been through some battles, which to me, I don't mind. It gives you a really good feel, especially I think when you do photography and different things like that. So, but you look at this detail, you have your trigger and your trigger guard. Now, I've mentioned before, I'm not a big fan of this or the magazine being behind here. Now, with it not being a removable magazine, none of these magazines remove. Without it being a removable magazine, it won't bother me as much, and here's the reason why. When you try and put something with the removable magazine behind it, a lot of times it tends to bend outward. Dusty's weapon, because of the softness of it, it would just kind of push the magazine, and it drove me nuts. I like having this here, where when I get some other weapons, I'll kind of point out what I don't like about certain things, but we're going to see how this one actually fits in one of their hands. Now, to me, this is perfectly made for the Viper. You kind of look at his weapon. It's a decent-looking weapon for classified, I'm not going to lie. I'm not a big fan of this gray, but listen, Cobra's always been more science fiction, more out there, experimental weapons. So I don't have a problem with that. I never had a problem with the Viper. But if we can upgrade it to something like this. Now, again, my biggest issue is the crossbar under here. It makes it difficult to sometimes get the hand on. And then I also have the magazine behind it. So you're going to be working on that a little bit. Now, the Viper has a lot. I'll probably remove his gauntlet. You can remove the gauntlet. Some of them may be a different color than the neck, but that's a whole nother story and a whole nother video for another time. So just trying to get this on here. And quickly just looking at that, you can tell it's really nice. Now, the bulkiness of the Viper plate carrier can kind of make things difficult to pose properly. Now, this is one that's going to take a little bit more time. to get me to pose properly. I'll have to work on this one if I want to keep it on this figure, only because of that. Like I said, I'll probably end up removing the gauntlets. Yeah, maybe it works here. But as you can see, yeah, it's not that bad there. So I think that looks nice. It really matches the color, and it would definitely match the fire team and all the other figures that are going to come out for the hiss. So, just comparing it. Now let's grab one of these blast effects and we'll see if it fits. And I can tell right away. So for this one here, unfortunately, the port is too small. So this may have been from an older batch, I'm not positive, where the ports were smaller. If it doesn't fit the Valaverse, it's definitely not going to fit these classified ones, so we're not even going to try. I don't use blast effects in everything, but it is nice to have that option. So hopefully that is something that will be rectified and they can shore up. So there's our Viper with this AK bulk up. Now this next gun is not my favorite gun. And I'm not really talking about this one. And this is a Desert Scar. I believe it's a Desert Scar. It's a Scar with a grenade launcher now. This here does not have a removable magazine. And I'm going to show you a Valaverse. And I used to really like the Valaverse weapons. Over time, getting more 3D printed weapons, as the classified have gotten better, I've started to see a lot of the imperfections with the Valaverse weapons that I've just stopped caring for because we keep getting the same ones over and over. Please don't get in the comments. I still use a lot of them. I have Valaverse product. It's not a knock on them. What is a knock, and you can't unsee it once it's pointed out, is the tiny magazine. Alright. These magazines are like the Kenny Pickett of magazines. Tiny hands, tiny magazines. And that's because he uses the same magazines for everything, and the wall is just too thick. You can't unsee it once it's pointed out how tiny the magazine is. It's like it's, I don't know, it's like it's shooting paintballs. But you can see this is kind of what they're going for. So if you have a Valaverse Scar with the 203, you can see it fits pretty good. This one's a little bit shorter. But size-wise, everything is pretty much the same. Alright. But when you look at this here, it's got the flashlight on it. It's got the port for blast effects. It's got a big port for the grenade launcher, which I like. I don't think it's going to fit anything else. But to be honest, what else are you actually going to be... You're not going to be putting any type of blast effect in my opinion. This here, I believe, is the laser pointer. And what I like is that there's an actual hole there for the dot, and then you have your scope. But you have your trigger guard. I like the black on the end. Again, reminds me a lot of the Valaverse. I don't need a removable magazine, and this works better. But the little bit of paint that they put on here, or maybe they put a lot of paint, and the black that is shown, I think, works. It's not too much. I think it's just a perfect amount, and they hit the perfect little spots. All right. So, of course, let's take a blast effect. Now, this one is kind of, well, it is very loose. So, I think sometimes matching up these. Now, with that said, a lot of the Valaverse, for a while, some of their blast effects were actually really thin. Like this one fits much better. So they had an issue with their post. I don't know what it was. They were too loose on their own weapons, right? But this one looks really nice. And if you're actually wondering what I'm saying, so you don't think I'm just criticizing them, this was a Valaverse weapon. That actually fits. No, it came out. This is what happens when you don't edit stuff. You kind of have to deal with. But yeah, this one actually fits pretty well. But there were some issues with some of them being a little bit too small. They seem to be wobbly. They really wouldn't fit the classified, and that's fine because they're not made for classified. So this one I think fits pretty good. But let's grab a classified blast effect. Yeah, this one is decent. Don't really have a problem with it all that much. And look at that, it actually looks pretty good. So it actually looks like you're firing from it. But as you can tell, there was one person I thought this thing fits. Looks like it's going to be awesome. And that is our brand new retro Recondo. So let's throw this on him. Sorry there, Duke. Never liked you anyway. So, perfect size. Pop that thing up. Now, the one thing you do have to remember when it comes to 3D printed weapons is that if you pose them like this, where you actually have tension put on it, they will start to warp over time. They will start to bend and pull, especially as it gets hotter in your house, or if they're like in the window or anything. But you can always just heat them up in some water and form them back. Classified, some will warp right away. These Valivers are the newer ones. The older ones might snap like from the beginning, but this is a harder plastic. This thing has no give. You won't have to worry about it. So if that's something you're concerned with, then the Valivers might be the perfect weapons for you. So looking at this, I think this is going with my Recondo, if you haven't figured it out. He will be rocking this Scar with the grenade launcher 203, which I absolutely love. So there you go. That's a look at these 4 weapons, my quick review, which nothing I do is quick when it comes to YouTube. All right, so there is my second review of Arsenal of Pew Pews. I like their weapons. I think they're really nice. I think they're priced pretty good. You're looking anywhere from like $9 to $12. But I will drop a link to their eBay page, their Etsy page, and their Instagram page. So if you're interested, maybe you want to reach out to them, contact them, ask them, hey, you know what's this all about? Is there anything? Don't ask if there's anything. They're in a business, so don't ask for free product. Just don't. But they're really good about making sure, like, they like to throw in some freebies so you can get a little bit better bang for your buck, which is cool, man. Like, I think it's awesome. So there you go. I like that. Again, check them out. I'm going to be trying to do a lot of these as time goes on. I've already mentioned that, but I'm going to get out of here. But listen, hey, if you're on Instagram, A Punk with Toys, I have 2 accounts. You'll see them both. Subscribe to them. Facebook page is Punks with Toys, because once you join, you're a punk with toys. But I'm going to get out of here. You stayed this long just to see Recondo rocking this wonderful, wonderful Scar. Take a second, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification so you're notified every time I drop some sort of video. Drop all kinds of stuff. But I'm going to get out of here. But don't go anywhere, because right up here is going to be the playlist of all the other Arsenal Pew Pews. And down here will be a playlist of weapons that I've reviewed. Take care.